So in the last chapter, we graphed things like this. Remember when we graphed like x greater than or equal to 3 on a number line? If it was just x equals 3, we would put a dot right there. That's x equals 3, right? Just x equals 3. X greater than or equal to 3, you put a dot at 3, but then you want all the values that are bigger. So that way, right? Equal to, it's just one thing. Greater than, you're including a whole bunch of values. Well, today we're going to graph some inequalities. We are graphing inequalities. Let's pick a good one. I want a nice one. How about this one? Let's graph 2x minus y. 2x minus y less than or equal to 2. We've done this before, where it was an equals, right? We've done equals. But now we're going to do greater than. And by the way, if it was an equals, do you remember how to graph it? Got to get y by itself, make the t-chart, pick some x's, plug. Remember that? Is that ringing a bell? So even if we change it, you start off the same way. You pretend that inequality is an equal sign, and you do everything the same exact way as you would do it if it were an equals. So we have to get y by itself first, I think, right? What do you have to do to get y by itself? Get rid of the 2x, right? And so I have minus y. I'll put the x first. It doesn't really matter. The negative 2x and then the positive 2. And then what will I do? Yeah, I don't want negative y. I want positive y. So that amounts to either multiplying both sides by negative 1 or dividing both sides by negative 1. This is going to make positive y. This, positive 2x minus 2. And since we multiplied by a negative, right, you have to flip the inequality. So there is my solve for y step. Just like we did before, you have to make a t-chart and pick some values for x. I like 0. Negative 2? Oh, did you say something else too? Oh, right. And then y. And well, give me one more x though, please. 1, she says. And we're going to pretend this is y equals 2x take away 2. So Rodwa says if I put a 0 in there, this is going to be 0. 0 take away 2, negative 2. Oh boy, negative 2. That's going to be negative 4 minus 2. And then if I put a 1 in there, 2 minus 2, 0. Oh, we're going to plot the points. 0 right or left and 2 down. 0 right or left, 2 down. negative 2, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 0. 1 over and 0 up. And then we're going to connect and we're almost done. If it were just an equals, remember we would just connect it with a solid line. But remember, it's less than or equal to. Remember the difference? I should do it up here. What's the difference between these two? If it's x greater than or equal to 3, if it's got an equal to, what do? Put a solid dot, I color it in. If it's not got an equal to, if it's just greater than or just less than, then I put an open circle. So there's a difference. If it's got an equals, you color it in. If it's got no equals, then it's open. Well, similarly over here, we already did, if it's an equals, you just color in, it's going to be a solid line. Likewise, if it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line. Oh boy. If it's greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, solid line. If it's just less than or greater than, it's going to be a dashed line. Well, this one is less than or equal to, so we're going to do a solid line. If it's got the equal to part, you do a solid line. If there's no equals, then it's a dashed line. Now, the other thing that's different about an inequality, it's not just this line that's our solution. It's a whole area of the graph that's the solution. And how do we figure out what area? Pick a point, not on the line. So here's the point I like to pick. Are you watching? I like to pick 0, 0 if it's not on the line. I like to pick 0, 0 if it's not on the line. At that point, the x value is 0 and the y value is 0. You pick a point and write down the coordinates. That's my equation. Plug in the x and y values. See this? Here's my x and y value. We're going to plug those both in here. 0, 2 times 0. And I want to know now, I don't know if that's going to be less than or not. I want to know, is that less than? Is it? Work it out. This is 0. This is 0. And I want to know, is this true? Question mark? 0 less than or equal to negative 2? Is that true? It's false. This is false. Now, here's what you do. If true, point is on. If false, then shade the side opposite the point. So what we're doing is checking to see if we have a solution here. If you plug it in and it doesn't work, then it's not a solution. So you don't want to shade that side. You want to shade the side opposite of it. If you plug it in and it does work, it is true, that means it is a solution and you would shade that side. Does that make sense? So over here, we picked the point 0, 0. We wrote those down and we plugged them in. We plugged it in and we got something that's false. That means it's not part of the solution. This thing doesn't work, it's not part of the solution. So we're going to shade nicely the opposite side. So any point that we pick in this region, any point you choose in this region will work over here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Do you have a question? Now, there's going to be somewhere you do this. You want to, remember when we solved the system? Remember when we solved the system and we did like 2x plus y equals 7 and y take away 3 equals x? Remember when we solved those? Don't try to solve these because I just made them up. They'll be horrendous for sure. So remember when we solved these and we graphed one and then we graphed the other and where they crossed, that was a solution? Well, today you're going to do the same thing. You're going to get two inequalities now. So you'll graph one and it'll be a region on your plane. And then you'll graph the other one and shade it. And that'll be another region on your plane. And where the two overlap, that'll be your solution. Just like over here where they crossed, that'll be your solution. Well, you're going to graph two of these on the same, and where they cross, that'll be your solution. Does that make sense? I don't think you need to see me do one of those, do you? If you can graph one, you can graph two. It just takes too much time, and you'll get it. You're smart. Do you have questions?
I thought we were done reviewing.
Oh, we're not going to be done reviewing probably till December.
So like a couple more chapters are still review and then
I think.
will we get some new stuff?
Oh, probably about May.
May?
Yeah. No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Why do I have? I'm on page 138. I'm on 138. And I have 1 to 17, the odds. That's not very many. Page 138. I have page 138. WE. 1 to 17. O, D, D, S. The odds. The odds. I have graph paper for you.